folks, welcome back to my channel, She Says Happiness. I'm Mary Ellen, and you may guess by my attire today, no, we haven't travelled to the future, but it is time to think about Christmas, and the challenge that I'm here to chat to you about today is a gift to November for 2024. I actually can't believe that it's a year since this challenge took place. I really don't know where this year has got to. But I have to say I'm not all that prepared for Christmas this year, but it's only the 9th of November, a little bit of time on my side, and fingers crossed I'll be more on top of things. But yes, last year I thoroughly enjoyed this challenge. I had time to participate, which was lovely. I made quite a few handmade gifts last year, which was also lovely. And today I'm going to chat to you about what I plan to make throughout November and December to gift at Christmas time. But before I chat to you about my plans and even little bits and pieces that I've got started, let's just go over the rules of the challenge. And this year, I really do think Alison has outdone herself. The list of prizes and sponsors for this challenge are unreal. I don't know how she's found the time, and the rules again have changed a little bit. Don't know where she gets time to do these things, but I'll share the slides with you here and I'll just give you a quick rundown because there's been an entire vlogging tour already. There's been at least 8 more because some days there's 2 people already sharing about this challenge here on YouTube. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of that already. But in case you haven't, to participate in this challenge, you basically need to sew, craft, make, it can be stitching, embroidery, whatever form of sewing you choose to do, that's perfectly fine. You make that and you post it over on Instagram, and that gives you an entry into this amazing challenge with the most incredible array of sponsors, and you might win a prize simply by making something beautiful for a loved one. How good is that? So when you have made and you enter and you've posted that picture, you need to do a couple of things. You need to use the hashtag for this challenge, which this year has been abbreviated. It's wonderful. It is just hashtag AGTN24, and you have to tag Alison at SewLikeDotty. Now, last year, I think the rule was that you posted on the last day of the month. This year it has changed, and this is probably a good move. So it gives time to collate all the entries as the month goes on. But you can post absolutely any time of November with your finished gift that you've created. Use your tag, use your hashtag. The other thing to do is to state what your country of residence is, because this will help Alison to appropriate prizes whenever it comes to that stage. And if you've got something that you don't want to share in your grid but you'd like to enter because, God forbid, someone sees your gift before Christmas, or maybe you just don't use Instagram, you can still participate. Alison has set up an email address that you can send your entry to, and that is agtnsewing@gmail.com. But Instagram is obviously the better choice if you've got it, and you can share it there. There is a star sewing prize, by the way, of a brand new sewing machine, which is amazing, being gifted by, let me remember, David Drummond, I believe it is, which is absolutely fantastic. But there is a long, long list of prizes, so it's definitely worth getting involved and getting making now rather than rushing everything in December. So today I'm going to share a few things that I'm planning to gift this year. Of course, I did create a video last year with lots of gift ideas, which I will link in the description box below, so you can go back and check that. And I'm going to try not to duplicate in this video. I think there's only one thing this year that's in the video last year, and that's because I was stitching it up last night. I have it here. It's a tie for my other half, who never watches these videos, so it's absolutely fine to share that. and this is the sew over it pattern. This is a beautiful Liberty lawn that I have used here, and again I've made a dress in this, so this was actually made using what was left of my dress. I doubt very much it'll be a matchy-matchy experience because we're not that way inclined, but I just thought it was lovely. It's a bit festive, so I've made that to pop into his Christmas box. I always like to give something handmade with my presents, unless of course it's somebody who really doesn't appreciate handmade goods, in which case forget it, because I'm not wasting my time on them. But the first couple of things that I've made are for my crafting friends, okay? So the first one I have made is this cute little pincushion, this little elephant pincushion. Now hopefully I'll get to make a couple more of these in the run up to Christmas to give to my crafting friends, along with some other sewing themed goodies that I've bought for them. But I just wanted to include something handmade because these are the people that appreciate it more than anybody else. So for my sewing pals, they're going to get a pincushion. Maybe not an elephant. There's only one elephant. It was actually really bloody tricky to do when it came to the tiny little details and those tiny little feet, which I've actually supported to help it stand perfectly. But I just thought this is a nice idea. It's practical, it's usable, it's also decorative, and it shows somebody that you care when you've put in that little bit of effort into making it for them. Another crafty related thing I've made is for my embroidery and cross stitch friends. So here we have a very simple make. It is a project pouch, and I've made it huge because I like one that I can fit the project into while stitching, and that tends to require it to be big enough to fit the frame or the hoop or whatever it is you're using. But I've just used some beautiful, I think it's dashwood, Christmas cotton, and I've done a very simple quilting on the fabric, but it's quite effective. And then this I'm going to stitch with, I'm going to fill with stitching goodies and wrap up. So everyone loves these when I make them for myself, and I always get requests for them. So at Christmas I'll fulfill that wish. So it's my project folders. And you know what? These are incredibly easy to make, and you can make them to size, any size you want. If you just want to make it very small, which you can do for holding tools or something like that, you can do that. And you can make it larger as well. It really is two rectangles of fabric. So you have your larger rectangle, which will be an inch bigger than the piece that you use for the back. And you basically then just base this together with a little bit of fusible interfacing, or if you want to just glue it down or pin it down, it doesn't have to be fusible, but I use fusible, and then I sandwich the two layers together with fabric spray glue, and it makes the quilting really fast, really easy. And then you've got two strips of fabric, which will be whatever width you need. And technically it would be about 2 inches, 4 inches, because you fold them in themselves. Just you have this nice neat edge alongside your sip, and this one then you fold your final into, which will be just a little bit smaller. I mean, you can almost eyeball this. It's really simple. And then you just sew all around, folding in that excess inch to bind everything together. So it's a lovely, simple, almost meditative project to make. I thoroughly enjoy making those, and I'll be batch sewing 5 or 6 of those for my friends. Okay, while I'm on the subject of crafty goods, I do have a little handful of friends who enjoy their cross stitching, and every year we make each other a little tiny cross stitch that can be used decoratively on the tree, whatever. So tiny little projects like these are always really well received by stitchy friends. This is a tiny little Margaret Sherry design. This was actually a little design that I've stitched up for a friend that came out of my historical sampler advent box last year. And then that'll just go on a little easel and be brought out every Christmas. So, some examples of stitching themed gifts to give to my friends. Now, I'm also going to do a couple of knitted projects this year. And it's because every time I wear my little berets, my little knitted berets, people always compliment me on them. This is a pattern from Tara Deighton Atelier. It's her vintage tassel beret pattern. It's so easy to knit, a couple of evenings and it can be done. Now I forgo the tassel, I'm not a fan of tassels, but I have made myself a couple of these. I think I have a white one somewhere too. And I do have a friend that I need to knit one of those for before Christmas because she keeps telling me she likes them. So the hint has been taken, received, and it will be acted upon. But berets are something I absolutely love in winter. I have also used Tara Deighton's sewing pattern to make berets. So this is an example of one I used my leftover wool fabric from making my cropped princess coat. I made my little beret out of that, used some scraps of fabric from my stash to line it, and I just love it, like right down to the little tassel. I think this is fantastic, and it's such a beautiful accessory to wear. I love a beret. So again, I think that's a lovely gift to make somebody. It doesn't take an awful long time. You can make it plain, but you can add something that is suited to that person in the lining fabric. But again, love it. And actually when you make these, you could also embellish it. You could embellish it with sequins, with pearls, with appliques. You could even use felts and do some festive design work on there. I'm going to give you an example of another couple of berets from my stash that I make for people around Christmas time. And it's just this little beret that I've bought. I haven't made this one, but of course you can make them. But I've bought this one and then I've appliqued that just by hand stitching, a lot of hand stitching, just to keep it all in place. And again, I just think these are really, really pretty, you know, practical too, keep you warm, cute. So I'll make a couple more of those this year. And then the last thing that I have been working on is headbands. So I tend to make myself a matching headband these days, particularly when I'm working with lovely fabrics like my Liberty or silks or anything like that, because all those little pieces left over are so precious. So little headbands. And again, I eyeballed this and created my own pattern. So these things are not difficult to do, but they're just lovely to insert that little handmade touch to the gifts. Or if it's someone, you know, that you don't know very well and you just want to give them a little token, you know, a little thank you around Christmas time. Things like this are great. So again, I get requests for these quite frequently, and yeah, they fit really, really well. And they're really, really comfortable as well because they are fabric covered. So that is where I am at. I have other plans though. I want to make a couple of notebook covers, fabric covered notebooks for my writer friends. I also want to make some coffee cozies just to throw in with gift vouchers and things to colleagues. So I've got my little pattern here for that. But that is pretty much the rundown of where I am at this part of the month. And yeah, I'm hoping there will be some more as the month rolls on and as we get into December. I'm very idealistic as to what I can do, as ever. So I've been a wee bit out of sorts. I had a chest infection 3 to 4 weeks ago that I'm still not over. So while I can breathe a little bit better and I can finish a sentence without gasping, I suffer from pretty bad asthma. It's nice to feel a bit more energetic again, so that's great. Yeah, hopefully back on form, we'll get a little bit more sewing done. I'd like to make a couple of things to take away to Disneyland with me. So I'm heading back over to Paris at the start of December for my little boy's second birthday. Where the year has gone, I just can't fathom it. I'm struggling to understand where it's gone this year. I do have a couple of things I want to make for that. And I also have a couple of occasion wear dresses I'd like to make. And when I say occasion wear, it's the fabric that's going to speak for itself. Of some lovely rich brocades and jacquards and whatnot that I'd like to make a couple of statement dresses for festive celebrations. But other than that, it will be small projects to pop in with gifts. So hopefully I'll get some sewing done. And yeah, hopefully you've got a little bit of inspiration. Maybe you're interested in a couple of those things. And if you do make any of those things, let me know. Hopefully the people who get them really enjoy them. But yeah, I'm going to round up because I have a lot of catching up to do. I have a lot of tidying to do, and I've only got about an hour to myself before I go get Henry. I finished work early, which is nice. So yes, I'm gonna tidy up, maybe get a wee bit more planning done, and I have a pattern test to do that I think needs to be done by the 15th of this month. So there's a lot to do. But I just want to say that there are going to be videos posted every single day, packed full of inspiration and ideas for you to get sewing for Christmas and beyond. And hopefully you enjoy those. And for easy access, you can go across to Alison's YouTube, which I'll link down below. She's creating a playlist of all of the vloggers who are participating and posting about this challenge. So go forth and feel inspired and get stitching. And I will hopefully catch up with you all really soon. Take care of yourselves, and thank you for stopping by. Thank you for subscribing if you are a subscriber. If you're not, why not? And yeah, I hope to catch up with you again in the not too distant future. Have a great day. Speak soon. Bye.